Members, good morning. It's the appointed time. We have a quorum. I call to order the meeting. Agenda item number 1. Information papers issued since last meeting. After the last meeting, the Secretariat has issued one paper listed in the agenda. Please take note of that. It's CB-11052/2024-01. A response from the administration to the letter from Mr. Michael TIEN regarding the follow-up actions taken in respect of incidents concerning the construction quality of the Shatin to Central link. Mr. Michael TIEN. It's been a while. It's been a year since. I'm not sure whether the administration thinks we can close the file, so to speak. This construction project costs $5 billion, and we need to add $2 billion to patch up the project. And the penalty was simply $40,000. It's not in proportion, and I can't accept this result. There are still many projects coming in the future. Is the penalty deterrent enough? Can we deter contractors? Can we prevent contractors from putting in extremely low bid? A lot of construction materials will be used less. There will be jury-built projects, and this is close to my heart. The administration said that they are reviewing the penalty system. Will the administration come to us explaining to us the status, the progress? There are still many construction projects in the future, and I don't want to see similar accidents or incidents happening once again. Any other member would like to speak? Mr. Michael TIEN. In my discussion with the administration, Deputy Chair and I have already proposed what you mentioned to the administration. We'll continue to liaise with the administration and we'll seek a reply from the administration. We'll even arrange a face-to-face discussion. Agenda item number 2. Items for discussion at the next meeting. The next meeting will be convened on the 6th of December 2024. At the next meeting, we'll discuss 2 items proposed by the administration. 1. Manpower resources of MTR Corporation Limited for railway services, and 2. Progress update on Railway Development Strategy 2014 projects. Any views from members? If members have no particular views, I'd like to talk about something in the news. The linkage system of the airport authority saw some accident, which sparked some concerns. The A8 linkage system is monitored by the railway section of the EMSD and is a potential item under the Subcommittee on Matters Relating to Railways. I discussed it with the administration together with the Deputy Chair. The airport authority is going to file a report in 1 month to the administration. We have decided upon the submission of the report, we'll make arrangements for discussing this report and we'll keep members updated. Agenda item number 3. Discussion item, Smart and Green Mass Transit System, SGMTS. The information papers have already been circulated among members by the Secretariat. Let's welcome the representatives from the administration to join us. Members who would like to speak, please press the button to request to speak.
好，我哋歡迎
Welcome representatives from the administration. The administration is going to walk us through a PowerPoint presentation. Thank you. Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, members. We're going to report to members on the latest progress on the smart and green massive transit systems. In 2023 policy address, in East Kowloon, Kai Tak, Hong Kyu, Ha Chun New Development Area, a smart and green mass transit system will be implemented in these areas. We'll provide convenient and green feeder services to the nearby MTR stations as well as the major public transport interchanges nearby. The SGMTS provides convenience to residents. Comparing with the heavy railway system, the smart and green mass transit system is a medium to low carrying capacity. It's energy efficient, intelligent, and convenient. It suits the transport needs in East Kowloon, Kai Tak, Hong Kyu, and Ha Chun NDA. In order to collect relevant feedback and views, we have already invited the submission of expression of interest. The areas are seen on the screen. For example, there's the level of interest and capability of the market in undertaking the project, associated technical information of suitable systems for the project, views on fare level, fare type, and fare adjustment mechanism, views on feasibility of possible extensions of the alignment and expansion and carrying capacity of the system, views on measures to expedite the commissioning of the system, views on measures to reduce capital, operation, and maintenance costs. By the end of this year, we will also invite the submission of expression of interest by the end of this year. In the papers, we propose a single party to be responsible for undertaking the detailed design and construction of the system. And the operation and maintenance during the contract period will be around 20 to 30 years. Future operator needs to run the system on a commercial basis and provide a high-quality public transportation services with publicly acceptable fare. The government will also explore providing financial support for the construction of the project, including granting property development right at the proposed depot site. The government will make reference to and analyze the feedback from EOI expression of interest while carrying out the investigation and design, financial assessment, and preparation of tender documents. We will also carry out the feasibility study on extending and adjusting the alignment and exploring, making provisions for future extension concurrently. I'd like to report to you the progress of the SGMTS. The system in East Kowloon is 7 kilometers long. There are 8 proposed stations. It provides convenient transport feeder service in the uphill areas of Kwun Tong. It will pass through Choi Wan, Shun Li, Shun On, Samao Ping, Po Tat, and Ma Yau Tong. From Ma Yau Tong to Yau Tong near Lam Thi North, our current proposal is to implement a tunnel section. But we are exploring the possibility of using a non-tunnel section in this road section. Since the commencement of the project, we've been conducting a number of investigation and design works concurrently, including the projects shown on the screen. For example, they include the proposal and the design scheme of the project, conduct a feasibility study on the potential extension of the system to different areas such as Yau Tong, Ti Wan Shan, Choi Lam, Hong Sheng, and so on. Regarding this timeline, this July, we awarded consultancy agreement for investigation, design, and construction. This August, we also invited suppliers and operators to submit EOI. The deadline for the submission is the 7th of November this year. This system will be run for the first time in Hong Kong. The administration will set the regulatory framework and legislation. We will also strive to complete the investigation and design as soon as possible. We aim to invite tenders in 2026 and award the relevant construction contracts in 2027. Next, we have the system in Kai Tak. It's 3.5 km long with 5 proposed stations. It has a dedicated and elevated corridor. It connects the former runway area of Kai Tak to the MTR at Kai Tak Station. The contract started in June this year. We are carrying out the relevant planning and investigation works, including the impact assessments on the environment, noise, heritage, and other aspects. It will also be extended to Kwun Tong Yau Tong New Acute Hospital, Song Wong Toi To Kwa Wan Hong Kong Children's Hospital. Will conduct feasibility study on the engineering feasibility in this regard, as well as the financial viability of various extension proposals. Will adopt innovative implementation approach, advancing the tender invitation and arranging part of the statutory processes to be carried out. This June, we already awarded the consultancy agreement for investigation, and in this August, we invited suppliers and operators to submit EOI. The deadline is the 14th of December this year. We aim to strive to invite tenders in 2025, and we will award the construction contracts in 2026. Next, we have the system in Hong Shui-Kiu Ha Chun. It's about 16 km. It connects Yuen Long, South New Development Areas, and Hong Shui-Kiu. It will also be connected to Chung Fu Station and Nai Wai Station of Light Rail Station. It will also be connected to the existing and to be built public transport interchanges. The alignment, most of the roads are dedicated roads. There will also be grade separation arrangements. Phase 1 is about 4.5 km long. There are 7 proposed stations connecting to Nai Wai to Hong Shui-Kiu Ha Chun NDA of the Logistics Enterprise and Technology Quarter in the NDA. In the development stage, we have designed a proposed SGMTS pedestrian walkway. We aim to propose green transportation. Most of the roads are dedicated roads. At the major and busy road junctions, grade separation arrangements will be implemented. For example, elevated sections will be used so that the system will be segregated from the other road-based traffic in order to achieve overall smooth traffic flow. The investigation and design works for Phase 1 roadworks of the system have already started in May 2024. We are working in full swing to proceed with the relevant works for implementing the project, including reviewing the alignment and station arrangements, formulating design schemes and impact assessments, preparing for the invitation for EOI, etc. We will also invite relevant suppliers and operators to submit EOI by the end of this year to ascertain the market's situation. This May, we already started the investigation and design works for Phase 1 road works. By the end of this year, we are going to invite suppliers and operators to submit EOI. We'll collect their feedback on the system's maintenance requirements. In 2025, we'll continue to carry out investigation. For example, we will review the alignment and station location of the project with formulate design schemes. We will also carry out various impact assessment gazettal of the project. We aim to invite tenders in 2026. Thank you. This is my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Now is the time for questions. There are 14 members who have pressed the button. I'll read out their names. Hon Michael TIEN, Frankie Yik, TIEN Puk-sun, Lau Kwok-fan, Dominic Lee, Xiao Sui-chung, Stanley Lee, Chen Siu-hong, Chen Han-pen, Yo Pak-leun, Andrew Lam, Look Chung-hong, and Chen Hock-feng. I'll allow each member 4 minutes, including question and answer. Dr. Lo Wai-kwok. Thank you, Chairman. The SGMTS in Kai Tak is experiencing difficulties in realization. Some 20 years ago, we pitched this proposal of a smart and green mass transit systems in Kai-tak, and the residents there were very excited and they gave a lot of different views and proposals. The system's been under study for quite some years, and the government has dedicated a lot of resources to engaging in consultancy study. And eventually, it was decided that the elevated approach was not feasible. Today, I'm seeing this transit system again. I regret the time that we lost. In the meantime, people didn't forget about this proposal, but they had no choice. I think that they will support this proposal because they've been looking forward to this smart and green mass transit systems in Kai-tak. I'm sure that this proposal today is an improved one. Kai-tak is a narrow and long area. A smart and green mass transit system should be feasible. There is not much variations between the new proposal and the past proposal. I will support it. However, apart from the current alignments, people have been looking forward to extending it to Tokwawan and Kuntong, for example. I think that you should consider extending the alignment. As for the East Kowloon mass transit system, in 2014, under the Major Transport Infrastructure Development Blueprint, the government has set out a timetable, a proposal, budget, and so on, setting out an alignment in East Kowloon because of the traffic, the transport demand in the area. Even though during the consultation period there was not such a proposal in East Kowloon, eventually the government decided to implement the scheme. Since 2014, the government has been conducting study on the alignment. Even though it's not been implemented, I'm sure that it will be realized because work is already started. I want to show my support today. I have to mention about this piece of history on the mass transit system in Kai-tak and East Kowloon, and I hope that the government will implement the schemes as soon as possible. Dr. Loh expressed his support for the two proposals. Any response from the administration? Thank you, Dr. Loh, for the comment. As mentioned by him, there are new technology that allow us to implement smart and green mass transit systems in such an elongated area. We hear Dr. Loh's views. We will try to implement and commission the system as soon as possible. Next, Mr. Michael TIEN. Thank you. Regarding the smart and green mass transit systems in a few areas, I have a few things to say. First, on East Kowloon, it's in an urban area. There is not much room for construction. So the system will be done on an elevated track. I hope that the government will set in the marking scheme that the size of the bridge holding the track will be subject to evaluation. The smaller the size, the better. We will be having a Kai-tak Sports Park very soon, and there will be a number of large events there. The round table has this wish: if the sports park can cater for 50,000 people. I hope that at least 30,000 people will be able to leave via the Kai-tak MTR station. Hopefully, in 30 minutes, 30,000 people will be able to be evacuated. I've looked at the MTR passenger load. Each train can carry 2,000 people. The journey frequency is 4 minutes. Within 30 minutes, people can go to Songwon-choi and Diamond Hill. 8 trips will be able to evacuate 30,000 people. So I think that 8 trips per 30 minutes will not be too difficult. The problem is how you reach the MTR station. This is when these smart and green mass transit systems come to play. Because during rainy days, people can take the mass transit system to go to the MTR stations, for example. Under these systems, there should be 1 long trip and 3 short trips. 1 going to cruise terminal, the other 3 going back to the sports park, and then return. Each train should be able to carry 500 people. The headway should be more frequent because it's smaller. For longer trip trains, the frequencies should be 4 minutes. However, for the shorter trips, the frequency should be 1 minute. Then you will be able to carry 15,000 people in 30 minutes. This is my proposal for your consideration. If you adopt my proposal, you have to set out clearly in the tender document that there is a place for the trains to interchange or to turn around. Now, let me talk about Hong Shui-kyo, my constituency. Mr. Tian, please keep your comment short. I don't think that there should be shared roads among the smart transit system and the other road traffic. There has to be dedicated roads. I hope that there will be 7 elevated tracks because smart transit system is smart and you shouldn't have to have these systems wait for traffic light. Thank you. Undersecretary, please be brief. If you are not able to address all the questions, maybe you can answer it next time. Thank you. I hear Mr. Tian's wish and proposal. We'll go back and consider it. We'll see how you can implement your arrangement. We'll see if the loading capacity will be able to cater to that. As for the shared track arrangement under Hong Shui-kyo smart and green mass transit system, I'll ask my colleague to answer that. Thank you. We are using dedicated roads for the system in Hong Shui-kyo. At major and busy road junctions, grade separation arrangements will be adopted. As for the parts that will share with other traffic, we'll review the alignment and the junctions. We note Mr. Tian's comment. Next, Mr. Frankie Yik. Thank you. I do think that we have to have these 3 SGMTS in the 3 areas. The government briefed us on the design proposals and the alignment. I understand that you haven't had a final decision on the kind of system that you will adopt. Will you be able to come back again to tell us about the systems that you will adopt? Eventually, you have to set out the pros and cons of each system, including the cost, the construction timetable, frequency, maintenance cost, loading, emergency evacuation arrangements, potentiality for extension. I hope that you will brief us on these areas so that we understand the rationale behind the government choosing a particular mass transit system. Thank you. Undersecretary. Thank you, Mr. Yik, for your comment. We are inviting expression of interest because we want to see what kind of system will be able to meet the traffic needs in the 3 areas. For East Kowloon, we have uphill areas. In Kai Tak, it's a flat space. Hong Shui is also special in its own way. So we will be inviting expression of interest to gather more information. When we choose the system, we'll look at the areas mentioned by Mr. Yik to choose the best system. Chairman, I'm sure that the government compared different systems before deciding. I hope that when they come back, please don't just tell us about your decision, but you should also let us know the pros and cons of each system. Mr. Yik says that he wants you to elaborate on the reason why you choose a particular system. We have to see if it's cost effective, and we also want to look at the design to see if it's convenient. Mr. Yik, any follow-up questions? No. Next, Mr. TIEN Puk-sun. Thank you. Regarding the progress or changes on the systems in East Kowloon, I think that it reflects that the government actually listened to the people. The preliminary alignment ends at Poltak. However, people were of the view that it would be strange and a wastage if one station connects to the MTR station while the other station on the other end does not connect to MTR station. The government said that the potential contractors will have to set out if there is potential for extension in their expression of interest. Now, in terms of progress, I know that the government has to go through a series of statutory procedures. I know that the government is trying their best to expedite the process. So my questions: first, now you are collecting technical feasibility studies. What is the market response? Were there only a few potential contractors submitting the EOI? Were they from Hong Kong or were they from mainland or other places? Second, the first and the last station of East Kowloon, SGMTS, connect to MTR station. Can we do the same in Kai Tak? You may think that is impossible because the end station of the system in Kai Tak is in the cruise terminal. But can you extend it to Yau Tong, for example, or connect the cruise terminal to the MTR with a footbridge? Deputy Secretary, thank you for your support. We have been listening to the members' views in order to improve our project. The deadline of submission for EOIs is not here yet. We're still receiving EOIs. We received proposals from Hong Kong, mainland, and other places, including Belgium, Japan, Singapore, Australia, so on and so forth. We received proposals from developers and contractors. We want to also take this opportunity to encourage contractors and potential developers to submit their EOI so that we can have more information for comparison. As for connecting Kai Tak to Yaotong with a footbridge, well, in the EOI, we asked the sector if this proposal is financially and technically feasible. In East Kowloon, the same goes. We want to see if it's possible for the alignment to extend to Chokyun, for example. We want to also see if it's financially and technically feasible.
Mr. Tang, any follow-up? No. Next, Mr. Lau Kwok Fan. Thank you, Chairman. I welcome the proposal of the SGMTS by the administration, and I'd like to speak on the system in Hongshui-kyu, Ha-chun. I'm concerned about the construction time and so on. Will it be an autonomous system without any driver? It's expected to be completed in 2026. I mean, the contract will be awarded in 2026, so can it be commissioned by 2030? The Hongshui-kyu station, if the station can be commissioned in 2030, it will be conducive to the development of Hongshui-kyu Ha-chun NDA. Next, on financial viability, a BDO mode is being implemented right now. That is design, build, operation. Will it be funded by the administration? Apart from the DBO, will DBIMO be implemented? In other words, will the supplier consider making investments by way of financing? Next, on the alignment of the system, comparing with the existing green transport such as light rail system, there is indeed improvement. Apart from dedicated roads, there are also configurations catering for the need on busy road junctions. Traffic lights take a long time to turn green in Tinshui-wai, rendering the district very busy and congested. So grade separation arrangements are crucial. In Hongshui-kyu Ha-chun NDA, in the existing light rail system, will it be upgraded at major road sections? Will there be smart grade separation arrangements? So in Hongshui-kyu Ha-chun Tinshui-wai, traffic will improve as a result. It can be connected to Yunlong, South Hongshui-kyu Ha-chun, but there are many residents over there. But it can only be connected to Chongfu Station. Will it be extended further? In areas without a heavy rail system station, will the alignment be extended to cover these areas as well? Ms. Ida Lee, Deputy Secretary. Questions about Hongshui-kyu Tinshui-wai. Thank you, Chairman. In relation to the timetable, we're striving to complete the project as soon as possible. So we have already started Phase 1 investigation study as well as the design works. We'll collect feedback, views from the market by way of expression of interest soon. As I introduced, the system is about 16 km in length. We're going to design the project phase by phase. Hongshui-kyu is Phase 1. We'll try to cater for the population intake in NDA, and this is our main goal. In relation to the technology to be implemented in the system, will it be driverless? in the expression of interest, we'll try to tap their views on the design of the system, design configuration, and so on, so that we can finalize the requirements of the system. On financial viability, as member mentioned, whether other modes will be considered. Hong Shui-Q system use a green road-based mode, so the construction will be spearheaded by the government. The contractor will operate the system, so the government has a part to play as well. Regarding the financial viability, it is a main issue in the expression of interest, and will finalize the financial arrangements in due course. In relation to the alignment, I'd like to invite my colleague from the CEDT to respond. Please be succinct. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Member. In the course of public consultation, we received views from the public. The alignment will go through Chongfu. Will it be extended northwards? We'll seriously consider it in our proposal. Next, Mr. Dominic Lee. Thank you, Chairman. The smart and green mass transit systems are supported. It's commendable. We have been demanding it for a long time. The East Kowloon system will be commissioned in 2033, whereas other projects like Pak Shak Kok will also be commissioned in 2033. The impression is that irrespective of the scale of the project, they also took a long time to be commissioned. Why does it still take a long time, given the fact that the MTRCL is playing a part in the project? The smart and green mass transit systems need to be connected to MTR stations, and you are going to invite tenders from operators. The mass transit systems in Hong Kong are mainly the MTRCL. The stations will have to be connected to the MTR stations. MTRCL already has business under their portfolio. How can you ensure the tender will be fair? Instead of awarding the contract to the MTRCL, considering its absolute advantage, Ma Yau Tong to Yau Tong Station, you are considering using a tunnel section. Will it increase the construction costs? In the paper you mentioned you would consider using a non-tunnel section. What is the difference in the costs between a tunnel section and a non-tunnel section? Ms. Amy Wong, Deputy Secretary. Thank you, Chairman. Well, how can we ensure an open and fair competition? The tender exercise will be very transparent. The system we use is not a heavy rail system. Instead, is a convenient mass transit system that is very light. The MTRCL does not have the relevant experience in Hong Kong. So I don't see any reason why the advantage or the favor is tilted towards the MTRCL. From East Choi Hong to Choi Hong, there are pedestrian linkage facilities in between. So we don't require the cooperation of the MTRCL in order to connect the two systems. the two stations. For the other details, I'd like to invite the highways. The project is about 7 km, involving 7 proposed stations. The construction is going to be taking place in a developed area with uphill areas. As member mentioned, will the pier affect road traffic as well as the accessibility? There are indeed serious requirements, hence a long construction time. I understand members are concerned about the commissioning time. We have already started the submission of expression of interest. We have invited views from operators as well as contractors. Can they use MIC or prefabricated modules? Then we can reduce the construction time. Meanwhile, we can also optimize the design of the system in order to reduce impact on road traffic. Our aim is to compress the timeline so that we can commission the system by 2033. From Ma Yau Tong to Yau Tong East, why do we have to use an elevated section? There is Spec 1 Road and another road in Lam Tin. They are dual two-way, two-line carriageway. We haven't yet mastered all the technical requirements of the system, so a tunnel section is a safer option. But we still want to see whether the contractor and the operator can propose any system that is light, convenient, without affecting nearby residents. Can they propose such an alignment so that we can shorten the tunnel section as far as possible? A tunnel section is more costly than an elevated section. So we are striving to strike a balance. We want to analyze the situation as soon as possible through inviting expression of interest. So we will see how much of the section can use the elevated section in Lam Tin. So we can invite tenders in 2026 and award the contract in 2027. Through the use of MIC in prefabricated modules, we can further reduce the construction time so that we can commission the system as soon as possible. Time management, 10 more members are waiting to speak. 1 member has requested to speak in the second round. There is one more discussion item after the smart and green mass transit system. So after Mr. Chao Siu-chung has spoken, I will draw a line. Depending on the progress, we probably don't have time to have a second round. I'll see whether we can allow the member to speak in the second round, or else we'll wrap up this item after the first round. Next, Mr. Chao Siu-chung. Thank you, Chairman. I support the early commissioning of these 3 systems. Regarding the system in Kai Tak, first of all, in paragraph 16, innovative ways will be used. For example, legislative exercise and the design will be implemented in tandem. I support it. In the mid to later stage of the construction project, if there are changes to the project, how will you deal with the changes? How will you coordinate the relevant work? Will it instead take a longer time? I'm also concerned about the issue of noise. The alignment in Kai Tak is close to residential areas. The government said that appropriate design elements will be used, and there will also be noise mitigation measures in order to minimize the impact of noise on residents. Can you tell us more about these measures? How are you going to reduce the impact of noise? We can control the level of noise through controlling the speed of the system. It will minimize impact on residents so that we can strike a balance between minimizing the impact of noise and operational efficiency. I'd like to invite the CEDD to respond to this.
Thank you, Chairman. Regarding conducting the tender invitation and part of the statutory processes in tandem, we want to identify the suitable contractors via invitation for expression of interest. After looking at the design scheme, we will be able to gazette the proposal So as a result, the statutory procedure will be catering to the design scheme, and that will expedite the process. Regarding noise mitigation measures, as we're using an elevated approach in Kai-Tak, for heavy rail, we are using metal tires. However, for the smart and green mass transit system, we'll be using rubber tires. Any follow-up? Thank you. Regarding design and statutory processes, well, if there is changes to the design, we may have to also amend our procedures. How do you make sure that there will not be any major change towards the end of the process? Will you stipulate that in your tender document? CEDD? Regarding the relationship between the statutory process and the design scheme, we identify a contractor to design the alignment and the system, and then after that we will gazette it. We will include the design elements so that we can supervise and monitor it under the legislative framework. Thank you. Next, Mr. Stanley Lee. Thank you, Chairman. I would like to thank the administration for these three proposals. I support them. In the administration's presentation, it is said that potential for future extensions is included in the expression of interest in 2014 when we have the railway development strategy. A lot of places are not included in the smart transit system. However, today we are seeing that the government is willing to extend the alignment. Just now, the administration said that they may extend the alignment to Honsing in Chenkwan-o. How will you make use of the information in the expression of interest? If it's possible to extend the alignment, will you do that at this stage, or will you be extending it after construction? Also, regarding the facilities in the vicinity of MTR stations, will the government be handling that, or will the contractors be working on it? For example, the construction of tunnels, bridges, who will be building those? Third, in Mayo-tong, you will be building a depot, and there will be rail plus property development. Is there any ceiling on the population in the district? Because in Sai-Kung Chenkwan-o, we already have 500,000 people. The systems will result in implications on facilities. So do you have any plan on that? I'll invite the Highways Department to answer the question. Thank you. Regarding the extension approach, I think that you're talking about Mayo-tong to Choi Lam and Honsing. Through invitation of expression of interest, we are gathering views from potential developers and contractors. The alignment is from Yaotong East to Potat. This is our main alignment. If it's feasible for us to extend the alignment, we will reserve for such a space when we actually construct the systems. Regarding pedestrian connection facilities, we have already awarded the consultancy agreement. They are looking at the pedestrian connections nearby, including the lifts, the pedestrian footbridges, and so on. We want to have the system better serve the nearby residents. That is why we'll try to see if we'll build pedestrian connectivities to connect the residents to the green and smart mass transit system. We try to enhance pedestrian connectivity in such a way. In Mayotong Station, we have identified a 6-hectare piece of government land. We will be building a depot there. However, the size of the depot will depend on the system that we decide eventually. We'll see if there is any space outside the 6-hectare and top of the station to allow the developers to build more property to make the proposal more financially viable. We try to, through town planning procedures, extend the area where the developers can build property to make it more financially viable. We'll also try to include more pedestrian connection facilities to make the SG-MTS more convenient and minimize the impact to the nearby residents. Thank you. Next, Mr. Tian Han. Thank you. I see that the administration has worked very hard on these 3 projects. They are trying to expedite the process so that the systems will be commissioned as soon as possible. I recognize their effort. I have 3 questions, however. First, this is the first kind of, well, this is a new form of public transport on top of bus, minibus, and MTR. For contractors that will be awarded the projects, they will have a strategic edge. They can showcase their systems in Hong Kong. In mainland, the contractors are not just required to build the systems to make it more convenient for people to travel, but also contribute to the GDP of the country. We may be able to invite an INT or encourage INT enterprises to come to Hong Kong with such systems here. Second, according to your paper, it seems that we will engage 3 different contractors for each of the systems in the 3 districts. If we have 1 contractor per district, then the revenue that will be generated will mostly come from the sale of property. After the contractors have sold their property, they have already pretty much gathered all the revenue that they can generate from the project, then it's very likely that they will not keep up in maintaining the system. When they suffer a loss from operating the system, they may increase the fares. So is there any sustainable non-fare income for the operators to continue to maintain the system? 30 years later, the contractors will have to hand over the system to the government. When the operation of the systems is suffering a loss, and when the government take over, by then the government will be suffering also from a loss. So how do we make this system financially viable? And the system will continue to be profitable when the government take over the system in some 20 to 30 years' time. 3 questions. Deputy Secretary. Thank you for your questions. The member ask if we will stipulate conditions in the tender document to ask the contractors to contribute to our GDP. We're still at a very initial stage. We hear the members' view and we will consider it. As for whether we will have 3 different enterprises operating the 3 systems, we don't have a decision yet. We'll have to see if there is sufficient interest in the market. If an enterprise is interested in operating 3 systems, they can submit tenders for the 3 systems. If they score the highest marks in all the 3 systems, then that particular enterprise may operate the 3 systems. As to how we make sure that the systems remain profitable in 30 years' time when we take over, well, when we select the operators, we will see how experienced they are in operating public transport systems in mainland or in other places. We'll engage operators that are experienced so that when they offer service, they have a long-term plan instead of just building the system and leaving it alone. As for non-fare revenue, we look at the experience of the MTR and bus to see if we can replicate it in the systems here. Next, Mr. Yu Pak-lan. Thank you, Chairman. I support the 3 smart and green mass transit systems. I hope that the process can be expedited. We have to really catch up. Having heard the Deputy Secretary's presentation, I know that the government has worked very hard on the projects, but you really have to speed up. Out of the 3 systems, 2, I'm concerned with regarding East Kowloon. The government has taken on board the views of the residents. The alignment is extended to Yaotong. So from my Yaotong to Yaotong is a long distance. If there's no one station in between, I don't think that is reasonable. I think we have to add in Lambton North Station to make the systems more efficient. I'm more concerned about the alignment in Kai Tak, 3.5 km long. The government said that they can only commission the systems in 2028. Will the administration be able to expedite the commissioning of the system even faster? If we extend the alignment to Chakualing and Yaotong, that would not be as efficient, especially given the situation of the current cruise terminal. The land outside the cruise terminal is a very vital spot for tourism. How do we revitalize the area? If we have a smart and green mass transit systems connecting the cruise terminal not just to the sports park but also Kwun Tong, Yaotong, then the entire system will be more efficient. In the Kwun Tong District Council meeting, we've been discussing the systems. It used to be a monorail system spanning from Kwun Tong Typhoon Shelter to Kai Tak. The government said that the place was a typhoon shelter. That is why we have to build very elevated bridge, and it's very difficult technically. However, there are a lot of yachts in typhoon shelter, so they're not really tall. I hope that the government will consider it. I also have a technical question. The alignment of Kai Tak go from Xingfeng Road to the sports park. In Xingfeng Road, there is a sky garden. Will the track or elevated track be taller than the sky garden, or will be parallel?
韦市长。
好， Ms. Amy Wong, DS. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Member. Regarding the system in East Kowloon for the station in Lam Tin North, we ask contractors and operators for their views. Honestly, if it can be implemented, it will bring more passengers to the system. So whether the tunnel session or the non-tunnel session, we want to be able to make it happen. But in the end, we'll have to see the feedback from expression of interest. Regarding Kai Tak, I'd like to ask my colleague from the CEDD to talk about the height restriction and the Sky Garden. Please be succinct. Regarding the design of Shengfeng Road, there's a noise barrier. There are also double-deckers. The SGMTS is highly likely to be taller or higher than the Sky Garden. We need to minimize impact on the Sky Garden, and this is our aim of the design. We need to bear it in mind. Next member, Deputy Chair, Mr. Chen Siu-hong. Thank you, Chairman. Just now I heard from members. They are quite positive about the systems proposed by the administration. But even though we support it, we want to see its earlier commissioning. We understand the administration cares so much about these systems. In different stages, such as expression of interest, awarding contracts, I understand the administration is doing its level best. I care about the sustainable financial viability. For these three systems, especially the project in East Kowloon, it highly depends on the topside development mode. Other factors include trip frequencies, passenger throughput, ticket fares, and so on. I understand the administration is waiting for expressions of interest. But while you're waiting, I understand the government was busy reaching out to potential operators. Can we explore the financial viability for now? Citizens want to see the early commissioning of the systems, but at the same time, they want to have more reasonably priced fares. It's not easy to strike a balance between the operation of the system and a reasonable fare. These three systems are going to be commissioned in different time periods. It's possible that a particular service provider has an edge in some projects. However, it is not as good as other operators in other projects. If you allow one single operator to be responsible for all three projects, it's possible that they can use their edge to make up for their shortcomings in other projects. So when they submit expression of interest for one single project, how can we ensure an operator is competent in all three systems instead of having absolute advantage in one single system? Regarding financial viability, as member mentioned, we're asking for views in the expression of interest. There are two aspects. One, the capital cost at the outset, and the financial burden during operation. As Mr. Chen said, When it comes to the operation of the system, it highly depends on the fares. In East Kowloon, there are quite many bus routes and minibus routes providing transport services. The smart and green mass transit systems do have their own benefits. For example, they are green, they don't give rise to traffic congestion, and so on. If the price is too high, members of the public may not be willing to use the systems. Indeed, we need to strike a balance. We do want to make ends meet, or even we want to make money out of the system. Is there any advantage when one single operator or contractor is responsible for all three projects? Well, these three projects do have their own special features. For example, for the one in East Kowloon, there's a requirement in relation to the climbing capacity. So indeed, probably one operator does have a lot of advantages over other operators. When one operator is responsible for all three projects, when there's any difficulty with the operator, all three systems will also be affected, and we can see both pros and cons when it comes to different proposals. Well, you should keep an open mind. When they submit the expression of interest, you can make a judgment in due course. You can assess or you can gauge the capability of the operators, and you need to make sure they detail all the factors in the expression of interest so that you can analyze them in a more comprehensive manner. Next, Mr. Andrew Lam. Thank you, Chairman. We need to identify a system that is suitable for Hong Kong and the three areas concerned. I appreciate the work of the administration. It's commendable. I have three questions. One, the systems are very different, and the systems are indeed unique. Given the long construction time, in relation to the service as well as maintenance, how can you make sure that these can be provided? Dr. Ben Chen as well as Deputy Chair also mentioned this point. My focus is not whether one operator can be responsible for all three projects, but I'd like to know what the administration means by one operator is responsible for one single project. What do you mean by it? Regarding my next point, for the system in East Kowloon and the one in Kai Tak, there are at least two depots. When I compare the length of the alignment, I cannot make a direct comparison. East Kowloon, 7 kilometer, Kai Tak 3.5 kilometer, with different sizes of depots. What factors have you considered? From the financial point of view, is there any room for making adjustments? All right, three questions. For the first two questions, we will ask the Transport and Logistics Bureau to take them. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Member. How can we ensure there is sustainability in maintenance and repair? Indeed, this is an issue that we need to think about. While inviting expression of interest, we ask for information they have and the system compatibility. Apart from that, we will also consider inviting the third party to be responsible for maintenance, repair, as well as upgrading. The purpose is to ensure the service is sustainable even after the expiration of the contract. Well, we want one operator to be responsible for the detailed design, construction, and the operation, but not not one single operator is responsible for all three systems. We want one single operator to take note of the relevant requirements in the operation. Well, regarding land, I'm referring to one or two projects. There are two depots, one 6 hectares, the other one 5 hectares. What factors have you considered when it comes to the depot of 6 hectares and 2 hectares rather? We've considered suitable locations to be used as a depot as well as railway development. We have also considered financial viability of the project and whether the land can complement or whether the land is suitable for this construction. We are waiting to receive all expression of interests so that we will know the costs to see whether the financial viability is sustainable. While I believe Mr. Andrew Lam means there's a financial factor at play. Are there any operational or technical factors at play, or there are only financial factors at play? Well, we do consider the size of depot they require in order to house all vehicles, and this is indeed a factor at play. When I read the papers, the East Kowloon line is 7 km long and the depot is 6 hectares. The Kowloon line about 3.5 km long with 2 hectares of depot. When I read these figures, I cannot see any functional correlation between the length of the alignment and the size of the depot. Density as well as the location are also factors at play, so you probably have to explain to the public. Well, time is limited, probably you can supplement afterwards. Next, Mr. Lok Chung Hong. Thank you, Chairman. Well, some views on the arrangements for a meeting. 3 spot and green mass transit systems are involved. I believe we should separate the discussion into 3 different systems so that we can delve into each and every system in detail. While I believe we'll have separate discussion and we can have more focused discussion. I thank the administration for listening to us. It is connected to Choi Hong East and Yau Tong East. I thank the administration for building a system in Kai Tak. I have a few questions. One, on the overall cost control. There's a subcommittee on the public work project cost or expenditure. For these 3 systems, what cost control measures do you have in place? For example, there are technical concerns. As green mass transit systems are dependent on cost control, when they are too expensive, no members of the public will take them. I don't want what happened in Zhuhai to happen in Hong Kong again. The monorail and the green mass transit systems in Zhuhai were running for less than 2 years, but then they have to be suspended. I'd like to ask about the one in Hongshui-Q Ha-Chun. Phase 1, only 4.5 kilometers with 7 stations. It will be connected to Nai Wai stop in light rail system and Hongshui-Q station on the Tuen Ma line. Why don't you connect the system to Tin Shui Wai in Phase 1? This will affect passenger throughput as well as expenditure. I mean the income, the fare box income. I understand you need to commission the system phase by phase, but at least in Phase 1, you'll have to connect the system to Chongfu Station in Tin Shui Wai. And this is just the most basic requirement. My third question concerns operators. Apart from the MTRCL, we want to have other contractors in order to encourage competition. I still think the same. But there are also advantages when it comes to awarding the contract to the MTRCL. For the free interchange to Tuen Ma line, this is commendable by members of the public. If another operator is responsible for these smart and green mass transit systems, how can we provide fair concessions to members of the public? Well, I believe they won't be able to offer free interchange. But what kind of discounts can they offer? What does the administration think? Thank you.
I'll answer the last question, and then I'll ask the Highways Department to talk about cost control. Regarding Hongshui-Q, I also want their colleagues to answer those questions. Regarding discounts on fare, we have to make sure that there is financial sustainability. So the fare level has to strike a balance to allow the operators to continue to operate and that the people can afford. In the invitation for expression of interest, we ask the contractors how their fare would compare to those of other public transport systems, and we also ask for their views on offering fare discounts for interchange. However, regarding the actual fare or the types of tickets, we'll have further detailed information when we have engaged the contractors. Thank you. Regarding cost control, I also understand that there was a discussion between the Development Bureau and the LegCo. Regarding the cost, we encourage MIC we want to reduce the man hours. However, it involves a lot of different approval process by different departments. Regarding operation, the operating timeline is quite long, and the operators will have to renew their capital, for example. We ask the potential contractors and operators to if there is any way to compress the cost and the characteristics of their system may bring about advantage in terms of maintenance and repair. We thank Mr. Lux for his comment. Regarding the alignment in Hongshui-Q, towards the end of the 4.5 km, why don't we extend it further to Chongfu? Well, there are two reasons for that. First, in Laohaoshan, we are conducting a feasibility study to review the land use. That's the first reason. Second, the alignment will pass by the Hongshui-Q-Qianhai rail link. We'll have to see if we can cater to the alignment of the rail link. Next, Mr. Chen Hafeng. Thank you. Last year, the Secretary said that there will not be heavy rail in the western extension of the South Island Line, and they will publish a report towards the end of this year. So I want to ask when the report will be out for the extension line of the South Island Line, because Wafu Estate is being redeveloped. And will the smart and green mass transit systems be adopted there, or will it be a heavy rail or a rail kind of model in the South Island Line, just like the Western Line? Will you be including the item in the meeting? Because we've been looking forward to the extension of the South Island Line. Wafu Estate is being redeveloped and population intake will take place next year. However, we're still just studying on the possibility of having a rail link there with some 10 to 20,000 flats having population intake next year. I want to ask about the progress of the rail link. Thank you, Mr. Chen, for the question. We note your comment. When we published the blueprint, we said that by the end of this year, we will be reporting to public about the technical feasibility of the western extension of the South Island Line. We'll come back to the LegCo very soon to report on the progress. When we talked about this project last year, we already mentioned that because of the terrain and geographical limitations of the area, it's difficult for us to adopt a heavy rail approach there. It's difficult in terms of technical feasibility and financial feasibility. That is why we will use other modes of mass transit systems there. When we have the final proposal, we will come back. So the proposals of these three projects, trackless, monorail approaches, will they appear in the South Island Line? That's what we're working on. We're looking into it. So it's still possible. Yes, we're looking into it. Now it's October. When will the report be out? As mentioned, by the end of this year, we will have a technical proposal, and we're working towards this goal. Next, Mr. Holden Chow. Thank you, Chairman. I would like to ask about Hongshui-Q Ha-Chun, SGMTS. I saw the photo montage in the document, and it seems like it's a road-based trackless system. I went to a delegation visit to Shanghai together with the members of the panel on transport. Are you ruling out the possibility of an elevated approach? I know that you have to consider a lot of different factors, including the technical feasibility and the financial viability when you decide on the final proposal or final system. So at this stage, have you already ruled out the elevated system? Will we be using a road-based mode, just like what's been illustrated in the photo montage? When you invite different enterprises to submit EOI, will they be able to propose different systems for consideration so that you will only roll a proposal out upon receipt of the EOIs. I think that an elevated approach is a way to go. Maybe due to different reasons, for example, financial fallibility, you won't adopt a certain approach, but I hope that you will keep an open mind. Why am I proposing this elevated approach? Well, in northwestern New Territories in Yunlong, Tianshui, we all know that light rail systems take up a lot of space on the roads and it affects the other road transports. So people have been asking for an elevated kind of system because it will not affect other types of road-based transport or at grade transport. According to your illustrations in photo montage, it seems that you're using a road-based mode. So will you be open to other proposals upon receipt of EOI? That's my view. Will you ask Mr. Lau to address the questions? Well, regarding Hongshui-kyu, we have reserved for a dedicated road there. So apart from a small number of road junctions where it would be shared, we will be using mostly dedicated roads. At BC road junctions, we will be implementing elevated sections. So throughout the alignment, there will be at grade sections, are also elevated sections. We will be adopting new technology to smoothen out the traffic at BC road junctions, and that will be able to also address the cost issue. When we conducted public consultations on the systems, there were also people who were concerned about the elevated sections because they have to go up and down the stairs in order to board the trains or systems. So our approach is really a balance between the cost and the concern of the people. Next, Mr. Yang Wing-kit. Thank you. I'm concerned about the Kai Tak and East Kowloon SGMTS. Let me first talk about Kai Tak. I'm concerned about the schedule. We've been discussing monorail in Kai Tak for a long time. I'm sure you have all the information about the geotechnical aspects of the area. You are inviting EOI and you will only award the works contracts in 2026. Can you further compress the implementation program to conduct, for example, various procedures in tandem? You should perhaps go to the Finance Committee even earlier so that we can further compress the timetable and that the systems can be commissioned as soon as possible. We have all the alignments and we've been discussing this system in Kai Tak for a long time. However, the works contract will only be awarded in 2026. You do not mention when the systems will be commissioned, hopefully by 2028. I think that the government should look at the issue of a time schedule seriously. Second, regarding the extension of the alignment in Kai Tak and East Kowloon, you said that you will potentially extend the alignment. So my expectation is this. You ask the contractors to look at whether it's possible to extend the alignment. That's just a study on the possibility. Perhaps you should award extra points to the contractors when they're able to actually extend the alignment technically. By this, the contractors would be more encouraged to look at the possibility of extending the alignment. Otherwise, they wouldn't be focused on this area. I think you have to offer them an incentive in this area so that we can have a breakthrough in terms of extension of the alignment, because the contractors may think that it has nothing to do with them if you're just extending the alignment at the next stage. Kai Tak from cruise terminal to Kai Tak MTR station, that's the alignment of the system. If that's just the arrangement of phase 1, I would not have too much comment on that, but we have to look at the overall picture. The Kai Tak is CBD2. If we don't extend the alignment to Kowloon Bay, Yau Tong, Cha Ko Ling, then that is not conducive to the development of East Kowloon. Kowloon Bay comprises a lot of commercial buildings. Even if you walk, well, regardless of whether you go to Kowloon Bay Center via Kai Tak MTR or Kowloon Bay MTR stations, is a very long journey. The alignment should go to Yau Tong station via Cha Ko Ling Bay, because there are hundreds. Please be brief. Well, there are some 100,000 people living in Cha Ko Ling. You have to consider it. Only by that will that be beneficial to the development of the entire Kai Tak. Please look at the extendability of this alignment. Thank you.
Mr. Leung. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Member. I'd like to talk about extension first. As mentioned in the papers, in the expression of interest, we ask contractors or operators to give us their views on Hong Kong Children's Hospital, New Acute Hospital, and so on. They can talk about financial viability as well as extension. They will also leave some room for design in order to extend the project. The detailed design stage and the relevant statutory processes will be carried out in tandem. In relation to construction proposals, we will use the multi-trade integrated mechanical, electrical, and plumbing method, MIMEP. The modules will be assembled on the construction site so that we can compress the timeline as far as practicable. Well, you'll have to come to the council to ask for money, to seek provisions. You need to make better arrangements, otherwise it will take a long time. If you can do this well, you will be able to award contracts more efficiently. The last member to speak, myself, I have a suggestion. In the papers, in the stage of EOI, you want one single operator to be responsible for design, construction, and operation. I understand. But you need to maintain flexibility at the same time. There are all too many products options in the market. There's an abundant supply. But the manufacturers or system suppliers do not have interest in long-term operation. They will have to seek a partner locally. But as we understand, there aren't many options, not many operators that can operate a system that provides smart and green transit systems for as many as tens of thousands of passengers. Even if they said they could, but they fail to provide any proof, it's not convincing enough. So the manufacturer that looks for the best operator will win the bid. And that goes against our original intention. Honestly, only the MTRCL has the capability to do so. So we need to maintain flexibility in the future. We don't have to engage a single party to be responsible for undertaking the detailed design and construction of the system. We've heard, Chairman, after receiving the EOI, we'll take a look at the EOI and we will also analyze the market situation. So we've finished discussing this agenda item. Thank you. Let's move on to the next agenda item. The work in progress of MTR Corporation Limited in building a rail tech ecosystem. I'd like to invite representatives from the administration and those from the MTRCL to join us. Members who would like to speak, please press the button to request to speak. I know we have a PowerPoint presentation to go through, so whenever you're ready.
主席
Chairman, members, good morning. I'll start with a brief introduction. The government is committed to developing Hong Kong into a smart city. We'll improve the livelihood to make Hong Kong a more livable city with innovative technologies. Railway system is the backbone of the transport system in Hong Kong. The MTRCL has been exploring the use of innovative technologies. The MTR aims at providing safe, reliable, and highly efficient transportation services to members of the public. It will also build a rail tech ecosystem to develop Hong Kong. The MTRCL will brief members on its work on building a rail tech ecosystem. It will also tell us the resources. It will also touch upon the collaboration with different organizations and bodies. The MTRCL spares no pains in developing innovative technologies. It builds a rail tech ecosystems with different quarters of the community. It also works with the rail talents in Belt and Road countries in order to take forward the development of the rail tech ecosystem. Last month, there was the Belt and Road Railway Forum, and this is exactly a good example. It shows the important role of the MTRCL in the world. I now invite the MTRCL to brief members on the progress, then we're happy to take questions from members. Good morning. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, members. Thank you for inviting us to report our work in progress in relation to building a rail tech ecosystem. We've been based in Hong Kong for 45 years. We are committed to providing high-quality railway services. Since 1979, the MTR was commissioned. We have accumulated solid experience in various aspects. In 2020, after conducting a strategic review, the MTRCL has the broad direction of transforming the future to enhance operation and asset management, providing a better travel experience for passengers. We utilize INT, that is innovation and technologies, to realize concepts and create opportunities. We have also set up the Global Innovation Department. We have also started the Operations Innovation Hub. As one of the sustainable railway companies around the world, we believe using INT can improve the quality of services as well as giving us an advantage in the market. In relation to the innovation value chain from N to 1, in different stages, we have been providing INT input and to move towards innovation and technology so that we can build a buoyant MTR system. We work with the INT sector and the academia to step up collaboration to undertake scientific research in relation to railways. We are also committed to grooming INT talents or railway talents so that we can make contributions to the service of railway system. Building a rail tech ecosystem is an interactive process with research institutions as well as the government and other companies. The MTRCL will play the role as an incubator. As a user, we'll build a rail tech ecosystem with different stakeholders. We've put over $1 billion to building a smart railway system, including maintenance, repair, and upgrading. In 2016, the MTRCL also set up the MTR Academy, providing professional training to groom research talents. The aim is to build a buoyant rail tech ecosystem. We don't solely rely on one single enterprise to build an INT ecosystem. Instead, we need good interaction with different organizations, tech giants, and so on. We put our heads together to bring together the strength of the research academic and industry sectors in order to facilitate the development of new quality productive forces. We work with different units on different fronts. We develop INT and we achieve different milestones. We work with different leading enterprises in mainland China as well as in the world. We want to meet standards in the market. And we also want to take forward the development of a smart city of Hong Kong. And next up, I'll share with you our efforts when it comes to collaborating with other companies. The EMSD is an important partner of the MTRCL. We hold INT forums from time to time. We compare notes about INT. We have video analytics, LiDAR, light detection and ranging to detect and monitor the existing situation. That way we can enhance our efficiency as well as in the maintenance aspect. S3, Hong Kong STP, Hong Kong Productivity Council are very important partners of the MTRCL. We join hands together on different fronts. We focus on data-driven and digital asset management. We also use big data collaboration environment and use different application scenes in order to develop Hong Kong into a smart city. In relation to tertiary institutions, we partner with Hong Kong U, Hong Kong UST, PolyU on different aspects. We analyze passenger travel patterns. We also analyze contract structure in order to enhance the efficiency of the MTRCL. We also work with the MTR Academy and PolyU to study Internet of Things detector. We also work with University in Beijing to take forward the development of INT, and the university is Beijing Jiao Tong University. Together, we look into the use of different innovative technologies. MTRCL plays as a platform. We want to stimulate development in the market. The MTRCL also works with Belt and Road countries as well as Greater Bay Area countries, Greater Bay Area cities, in order to develop new quality productive forces. In May this year, we joined an alliance that is the Railway Science and Technology Innovation Alliance. We work with different tertiary institutions and organizations to give full play to research, academic, industry sectors. We develop new trains. We also develop new technologies and look into new energies. We'll continue to strive for INT to develop new railway technologies so that we can be connected to not only mainland China but also the world, so that we can make greater contributions to the railway development of the country.
Globally, together with the MTR Academy, we organized the Belt and Road Railway Forum. We brought together nearly 280 government officials, railway professionals, industry leaders to talk about areas such as economy, and we exchanged views. Our R&D efforts have also been recognized internationally. At the 49th International Exhibition of Inventions of Geneva, we won 21 awards, including 7 gold medals, along with silver and bronze medals. We thank the partners and colleagues for their efforts. This shows the determination of integrating innovations into construction, maintenance, and repair. We uphold this principle of keeping the cities moving. We make use of robotics, big data to promote smart mobility and maintenance so that we can continue to be a world-class railway and provide convenient services to our passengers. We've also been promoting smart maintenance by introducing innovative technologies and accelerating the application of image analytics. We have already implemented smart railway asset monitoring. We are using also robotics. We have launched the smart passenger instrumented revenue train on all heavy rails as well, or heavy rails as well. We also commit to promote smart mobility to provide a personalized, hassle-free, and passenger-oriented travel experience to passengers. Looking forward, we will continue to make use of technology to enhance the experience of our passengers. We will also promote the development of local INT ecosystem. We will leverage on our advantage and work with government, research institutions, tertiary institutions, and different enterprises to explore and develop more innovative solutions. We'll share our experience with various stakeholders to support the INT ecosystem by putting in resources and enhance the high-quality performance of the railway operations. We'll integrate industry, academic, and industry sectors. So much for my presentation. That's the question session. 6 members have pressed the button. There are Lo Wai Kwok, Chen Siu, Hon Michael TIEN Puk-sun, Chen Han Pen, and Gary Chang. Our meeting was supposed to end at 10:30. If there's no comment, I'll extend the meeting by 15 minutes, 4 minutes per member. First, Dr. Lo Wai Kwok. Thank you, Chairman. Now, this document on building a rail tech ecosystem, it's rich in content. talking about INT and railway in Hong Kong, we have to talk about the East Rail Line. It has become an INT corridor. Along the alignment, there are a few universities, including the CityU, the Chinese University. We have a science park in Pak Shek Kok. We also have Inno Park, a productivity council along the alignment, and we also have an INT academy. The alignment will extend to the loop in Lok Ma Chau. So a railway linking all the INT facilities, institutions, and enterprises is very important. This may not be the strategic intention of the government, but that's the result. However, there is a loophole that we have to plug. That is the Pak Shek Kok MTR station. Of course, this is not the subject of discussion today, but I just want to bring this up. The professional team of the MTRCL has achieved great results in the application of INT R&D. They have upgraded their software and provide reliable and convenient, green and smart railway systems to the people. They have a lot of different things that they have to work on still, however. This item has to do with our last item. In the last item, we discussed green and smart green mass transit systems in Hung Shui Kiu, Ha Chun, Kai Tak, and East Kowloon. These three systems are different from the heavy rail system operated by the MTRCL. So I have a question for the corporation. What is your strategy? In the PowerPoint presentation, I saw that there is a Railway Science and Technology Innovation Alliance comprising railway corporations in the mainland. Their systems may be able to be adopted in East Kowloon, Kai Tak, or Hung Shui Kiu, Ha Chun. Maybe the MTRCL will cooperate with them in the future and submit a tender for those three systems. I will not be asking about such a sensitive kind of business decision, but I don't think that is a bad thing for the MTRCL to be operating those three systems. And I see that the rail plus property model has been very effective in the past. This may be the result, but I know that this is a business decision. I know that you will not be answering my question directly. So I just want to ask about your development strategy on new railway technology. Thank you. Regarding the planning of the public infrastructures in terms of transport in Hong Kong, that's led by the government. Regarding the type of technology that we adopt, it hinges on a number of factors, including the environmental issues and the technical feasibility. MTRCL has been committing to providing quality services. We proactively work with the government to promote the development of railway in Hong Kong. Thank you. So I just want to ask about your technology on new railway on top of heavy rail system. We have to work with the government. Thank you. Next, Mr. Chan Xiu-hong. Thank you. Chairman, the MTRCL has been providing safe, reliable, and efficient services to passengers, and thus internationally recognized. Earlier on, I went to Beijing and Shanghai, and I talked to the railway operators and stakeholders there. They applauded the work of the MTRCL because they learned a lot of different things from the MTRCL when they came, and they recognize the performance of the corporation. I hope that they will keep up their good work. This document is about building a rail tech ecosystem. I know that due to limited time, the MTRCL is not able to detail everything in the document, but it seems that in terms of INT, the corporation has been working very hard. They work on various scopes. They work with research institutions, tertiary institutions on INT in railway development. But when we're building this rail tech ecosystem, how do we go from 0 to 1, 1 to n, or 1 to, or n to infinity? How do we make sure that people feel the effectiveness of applying INT in railway? Can you give us a list on the types of projects that go from 0 to 1 along the innovation value chain, or what kinds of projects that go from 1 to n, and so on? I am also concerned about the track monitoring, because it's crucial to the reliability and safety of the trains. I know that you have to work on maintaining the tracks, but you can only repair it in the 2 hours during the small hours when the train is not in operation. You said that you have launched a smart monitoring system. So can you talk about them? In September, there were 4 signal issues. The MTRCL responded very speedily. In a very short time, they repaired the signals. However, this kind of signal incidents cause inconvenience among passengers. So when you work with the research and tertiary institutions, do you have any projects on working on the signals, because it seems to go wrong from time to time? Thank you. Dr. Lee. Thank you. We set up a goal when we work with each and every partner for big data and artificial intelligence. For example, well, regarding 0 to 1, about the smart track monitoring system, that's the project under 0 to 1 value chain, so that we can collect big data. And now we're going already from 1 to n. In every track, we have 2 trains that have been installed with such a system. After we have collected the data, we can monitor the tracks and the journey in real time, so that we don't have to repair or monitor the situation during the golden 2 hours at night. By that, we can renew our assets or update our assets during those 2 golden hours. As for other types of update, I mean the data-driven asset management, I know that one signal accident is one too many, so we will be making use of Internet of Things and digital approaches to monitor our assets, so that we can prevent incidents from happening. Even when accidents do happen, we want to leverage on technology to minimize the impact caused to our passengers. That's the result that we want to see by applying technology. We have already seen a lot of examples going from 0 to 1 and 1 to n. Thank you. Next, Mr. Michael TIEN.
Thank you, Chairman. I have 2 questions. Well, back then, you and I were also in the MTRCL. something beneath the trains became rusty, something fell, and it caused a surprise to the community. We needed to use some nylon strings, but right now we have video cameras to monitor the oscillation of the hard objects beneath the trains, which could not be identified with our naked eye. If you need to install these pieces of equipment on all 800 carts of trains, how long time will you need? Regarding cracks in tracks, you carry out visual inspection once every 2 weeks, but I want you to do such checks once per week. But you said it's not possible, we don't have enough time. It's not about the trains, but there's not enough time. Some pieces of equipment of the train will have contact with the tracks, so we use ultrasonic technologies to detect any metal fatigue of the trains. But the trains are running at 22 kilometers per hour. I'd like to ask Dr. Lee if you are not going to use the golden 2 hours overnight. By day, the trains are running at 80 kilometers per hour. So can we upgrade our technologies bit by bit so that in the future you can monitor the cracks in the tracks, so you don't have to rely on the golden 2 hours in the evening to carry out such inspections? Can you share more with us? Well, very technical question, Dr. Lee. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Member. In relation to the component checks beneath the trains, we use robotics to carry out inspections, and we are researching into robotics to monitor the operation of the trains beneath the trains. In relation to metal fatigue beneath the trains, Member is right. The parts need to have contact with the tracks in order to be inspected, so this has not yet reached a mature stage. For the golden 2 hours in the evening, there are relevant checks to carry out such inspections. Just now, I mentioned the use of video analytics to provide maintenance of railway track systems, and we hope to be able to carry out predictive maintenance of the railway track systems in order to minimize the impact of track issues. They may affect road safety. We'll continue to work with stakeholders in the ecosystem to achieve breakthroughs in the future. Well, for 800 carts of trains, how much time will you need? Well, the smart under-vehicle robots are in the stage of from 0 to 1. We'll have to gauge the progress in due course. Next, Mr. Lok Chung Hong. Thank you, Chairman. The railway system is a high-tech. I'd like to hear from the MTRCL. What is your collaboration with the international arena as well as with mainland China? You mentioned an alliance, and I'd like to know what you have done in concrete. That is, how are you going to work with the Belt and Road countries? I'm not sure if I understand this correctly. Is the rail tech ecosystem just for scientific research, or will the results be commercialized? When I read the papers, the paper is actually silent on operational frontline staff members. The turnover rate is high. It's difficult to recruit frontline staffers, and that is not conducive to the use of new technologies. The application of new technologies is key. Humans are important productive factors in new quality productive forces. Humans and equipment complement one another. So how can we retain talents to use new technologies? This is a new direction forward. I visited the MTRCL to know more about the new technologies. I understand they apply new technologies to improve the accuracy of inspections, for instance. So how can we retain talents in the MTRCL so they can groom future talents, they can pass on their knowledge on to the next generations? In 2021, December, and in November 2022, incidents happened. There were parts causing incidents. Some doors fell off the trains. So how does the MTRCL upgrade asset management? Are fixed assets on the MTRCL equipped with the relevant tools? Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Member. In September, we held a forum and invited 280 Belt and Road countries. These 280 representatives from Belt and Road countries made contributions regarding the alliance. That's a key project of the country. They are very competent units of innovative and technologies. For example, there's a new generation signaling, new generation trains, big data, new energy, and so on. The local rail will benefit, so will mainland railways. So we can improve the quality of the local railway system. The ecosystem from 0 to 1, from 1 to n, and from n to infinity. The MTRCL plays different roles in different stages. For repetitive processes, we want to use automation to improve efficiency. With the use of INT, we can see added value. We also have different initiatives to retain talent, and we welcome colleagues to use technologies more often to improve the work environment for better career prospects. In relation to inspections inside tunnels, we work with ESTRI to look into from 0 to 1 technologies. We use automatic optical inspection technology to detect situations inside the tunnels. We're moving from 0 to n to from n to 1. Next, Dr. Ben Chen. Thank you, Chairman. The rail tech ecosystem of the MTRCL, I'm glad to hear about it. In my exchange with the MTRCL, I had opportunities to visit the data laboratories. The MTRCL started to promote technologies you're not only a user. I have two main concerns. One, you are an important user in Hong Kong. And we aim at precision. Some parts are sourced from overseas. I hope the MTRCL will work harder on this front. Will the MTRCL manufacture such parts in Hong Kong and then export them into the world? The MTRCL relies mainly on fare box revenue as well as property revenue. This time around, we have opportunities to reap technology income, and members of the public will be glad to hear about it. So the financial pressure will not be dependent on fare box revenue. Will you diversify your income stream? So you can acquire other companies, you can merge with other companies, and so on. This way, you are taking forward the development of the ecosystem. So will you work more on this front? This way, you'll have more investment revenue, and technology revenue will also be a highlight of your work. Well, I suggest extending the meeting by not more than 10 minutes. If members do not object, I will extend the meeting by 10 minutes to 10:55. Dr. Lee? From N to 1, from 1 to N, we want to see opportunities so that we can move on to from N to infinity, so that the rail tech ecosystem will combine the strengths of industry, research, and academic. We need partners to realize mass production. This is in line with new quality productive forces. There are leading enterprises in mainland China. From 1 to N, they absolutely have the capability to realize this. They can achieve mass production to help the MTRCL to provide better quality services to members of the public. These products can also be used in the railway system in Hong Kong. We need to work harder from 0 to 1 and from 1 to N. If there are opportunities to work on from N to infinity, we will also realize this. Next, myself, I want to follow up on Dr. Ben Chen's question. We talk a lot about from 0 to 1 and from 1 to N. For the synergetic effect, the MTRCL does have advantage. The MTRCL is a very sizable application scene. Hong Kong needs to be a value adder. For mainland products or mainland parts, when they come to Hong Kong and when they're used in Hong Kong, we can achieve synergy. And if we need to move on from 1 to N, that is beneficial, and we're using the global standard that is a very high quality standard around the world. Apart from 0 to 1 and 1 to N, we want to put in place better arrangements. Just now we mentioned various projects. What is the most representative or the most successful project of the MTRCL? Do you have any concrete examples to share with us? Members mentioned visiting the MTRCL. They have an understanding of your projects. Well, is it possible for the subcommittee on matters relating to railways to visit these facilities? Well, I welcome all LegCo members and the relevant organizations to get in touch with us. You can visit the MTRCL. You'll have a better understanding on the railway development. So we can go further in relation to railway development. When it comes to value adding, over the past 45 years, we have accumulated a lot of experience. We have our own standards. So if we work together within the country, together with our experience and standards, we'll be able to add value. Then we'll be able to achieve synergy. So we'll become a bridge between Hong Kong and the country. We can have a better say in the world. We can also empower new quality productive forces. I can give you some examples. For example, we make breakthroughs in the golden 2 hours. We use a lot of automatic technologies. Track systems need to be inspected on a regular basis. We have manufactured a 2-arm tools. This way we increase our productivity by 3 times to even 5 times. That's what we have improved in relation to picking out gravel. These measures, together with big data analysis, we have surpassed 99.9% in relation to the operation of the MTRCL. That wraps up our discussion of this item. AOB, any other business? There being no any other business, meeting adjourned. Thank you, members.